Hey guys, it's Jeff from Patriot Training Center. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick little review of the HK VP9 pistol. This gun is HK's polymer striker fired pistol that they have on the market. And quick little history on this gun, it was released originally in 2014, but it is not HK's first polymer frame striker fired pistol. That would be the VP70 that was released in 1970. It was actually the first polymer frame striker fired gun to come to the market well before Glock. Now, albeit that VP70 was a good deal different than what we see in the VP9 and the Glocks and the modern striker fired guns that we have on the market today. But HK's been at this for a little while now. So again, this gun was released in 2014. It's a very good gun. It was a very good gun when it was released. But one of the issues with this gun when it was initially released is the magazine capacity was only 15 rounds. So you could put 15 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber for 15 plus 1. Same capacity as the Glock 19, for example. The difference with the VP9 and the Glock 19 is the VP9 has a full-size grip, much like a full-size Glock 17 like our law enforcement officers often carry. With that category, full-size grips, guns usually come with 17 plus 1 capacity in the magazine. So with that being a point of contention for the VP series, in 2020 HK actually released an updated version and they upped the magazine capacity to 17 rounds. So now it has that 17 plus 1 capacity to match its full-size grip, which was a great move that made a lot of people happy, including me, that like these HK guns. So as you can see, it does have that full-size grip, and unlike the Glock 17, this is a little bit shorter. This has a 4.09 inch barrel, which is like the size of a Glock 19 slide. But I love personally these guns that have the full-size grip with a 4-inch barrel. To me, it's a very good sweet spot. It makes the gun balance very easily in the hand and shoot really well, particularly in rapid fire if you're having to make a lot of quick follow-up shots or whatever that might be. To me personally, and each person varies, but that is a very good combination for these guns. So some specifications size-wise. So the total length of this pistol is 7.34 inches long, and that is right along in line with the Glock 19 and other 4-inch barreled guns, and the Glock 45 as well. It's 1.32 inches wide at its width right here, and it's about 5.41 inches tall, and that is with the magazine inserted. So as we put that magazine in, I want to point out one other interesting thing about this gun. It does not have your traditional button magazine releases. You see on this side where that button magazine release would typically be found, it's not there. Nor is it on the other side either. It has this paddle magazine release or European style mag release. So this is another point of either love it or hate it from the most part, from what I can tell with shooters around the country that I've been around when it comes to HK's paddle release, this European mag release, is they either love it or hate it. I'm one of those that love it. So if I've got the gun gripped and need to get rid of this magazine, I don't have to break my grip. I simply bring my trigger finger down, hit the paddle, magazine comes right out, and you can see how positive that release of the magazine is. To me, it's a very intuitive feature to get used to and to use, and it works really well for me while I'm actually using the gun out on the range, doing various drills or courses of fire. I find it to be really intuitive, very natural, and very fast and quick, and very safe. Yes, I'm using my trigger finger, but it's coming off the gun. We release that magazine and insert a fresh mag, and I'm right back in the game. So again, that's everybody varies, and that's okay. That's why we have all these different guns. So if you end up checking this gun out and really like it, but you just do not like the European mag release for whatever reason, they do make a B version, a VP9B, that has the button release, the American style button release, and it simply does away with the paddle mag release, and they have a button here. So they are available. You just have to look for them, find the correct SKU number, and get that ordered up, and you can get get an Americanized VP9 if you don't like the paddle mag release. But that is an interesting feature. Another interesting feature on this gun is it is extremely ergonomic. So what I mean by that is the Germans are known for their engineering, and they put a lot into that when it comes to this gun. So you can see there's a lot of people that do not like finger grooves. I'm one of those that don't care. They've never really bothered me. The Gen 4 Glocks that I grew up on had finger grooves. My hand just fit them okay. These are not like Glock finger grooves. I'll say that first of all. They are designed, from the way I understand it, to lock the grip in. They're not as pronounced as the finger grooves on some other guns that have those finger grooves. And to me, it does the job. It really locks my grip into place when I put my hand on the gun and get my high, tight master grip right there. So to me, they work really well. They do not bother me. Again, to each their own. Everybody's hands are different, so it just depends on the user. I also really like this lip they have down here at the bottom of the grip. And as you can see, for my average size hands, it fits perfectly. And it gives me a really good feeling and a really good positive grip on the gun right there. So that's, to me, those are very good features on this gun. I'm not going to do it in this video. It would be a good video to do on a follow-up, but HK does something a little bit different from others here. Most guns come with removable back straps that come in various sizes of small, medium, large. HK does the same thing. This back strap is removable, but so are these side panels on each side. And they also come in a small, medium, or large. So theoretically, you could have a large back strap, medium right panel, and small left panel. So you can do it however you like to make this gun fit your hand to the best feel that you can find for the gun. I am one of those who have tried every combination, and I go back and forth between a couple. I've shot a lot of rounds through these guns over the years. I really like them. I'm a big fan of HK guns. And small, medium is what works really well for me. So, you know, it just depends on each person. And I've got friends who go large. And some people just love the medium that comes on it, and it works really well for them. But it's great to have choices, and it's great to be able to customize this gun to fit you. So that also brings me to one of the few cons I have for this gun, and that is the texturing on the grip panels is good, but like most of these guns, they leave a lot to be desired up here in the high areas of the grip. And that's why you see an aftermarket that does so well with like Talon grips or Boresight Solutions. It does an unbelievable job of stippling these grips to give you that nice feel and positive traction on the gun when you get the grip. Now, with that being said, I don't like it. I wish there were stippling up here, and I wish it wasn't slick. I have ran this in the desert at gun sight, not this particular gun, but another gun just like it. In the desert, I've ran it in the heat of the southeast. I've ran it in sub-freezing temperatures, and I've never had a problem keeping a grip on the gun. So I'm not an engineer. I guess they knew what they were doing, but that is something I would like to have. It's just a little bit more texturing higher on these guns, and that's it for all of them. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 series, they did it very well. I wish everybody would kind of get in there and do what they did with their grip texturing. So that's one of the few cons that I have with this gun. I have a lot of pros that I really like about this. Of course, the ergonomics of the gun really work well for me. Initially, when I first started shooting these guns, probably in early 2015, I was able to get a hold of one not long after they were released. And I found one and I got it. I initially loved shooting it as far as the accuracy I got from the gun, but it didn't fit me very good. I didn't feel like at the time, as far as the fit into my hand, and I ended up getting rid of that gun. And then I had a friend that said, hey, you need to try this gun again. You need to look at switching some grip panels around. And I did, and it ended up working really well for me, and I've kept one of these around for quite a while because they are really, really good guns. Now, one really cool thing about this gun is the trigger. So obviously this gun is unloaded, it is clear. This gun has what HK calls a light trigger pull. It's basically a single action trigger, and wow, it's just really good. So very short reset. Resets are never as short as I would like for them to be, but for a factory gun, this is pretty good. So again, we get a short take up right here. This gun here, this particular copy of the VP9 has no creep. This is an absolutely fantastic trigger that came from the factory with this gun. So short take up, and I'm right there at a pretty defined wall, and then I just can press right through. It's a very smooth press through the trigger blade. And again, the reset, and you can hopefully see right there, a little longer than I would like, but it's not bad, and you're right back at the wall ready to go again if need be. But they list this trigger, HK from the factory, at 5.4 ounces. It does not feel like that. I have not actually measured this trigger to get the true weight that it's breaking at, but my experience, I'm guessing it's right around 5 pounds. But it's a very smooth, defined wall, but very smooth break that it really helps me keep from disturbing these sights when I'm on target. I actually shoot this gun really, really well, and I attribute a lot of that to the ergonomics and this fantastic trigger that they have put in this gun. This is one of the few guns, I'll say this, one of the very few guns out of the box I don't touch. So when it comes to my Glocks, there are certain things that I do to them with aftermarket stuff to make them shoot a little bit better for me personally. With other guns, same thing, but with the HKs, I do not touch them. I keep them bone stock. I find no reason to change anything on this gun. If I were going to change anything, it would be to get some stippling done up here in these smoother areas. But again, that's more of just a personal preference. It has not affected my shooting. So take these guns down and field strip them. As you see here, we have a takedown lever on this side. So obviously, we have to lock the slide to the rear, make sure that our magazine is out of the gun. So the first thing we do when we take a gun down is we're going to clear it, right? So we need to remove the magazine, get rid of that ammunition source, set it to the side. We need to lock the slide open to the rear, and then physically and visually inspect that chamber to make sure that this gun is cleared. And I always like to look away and break my concentration because I'm woefully human and I can make mistakes. And repeat that at least one more time to ensure that that gun is clear. So once I do that, I've got the slide back to the rear. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this takedown lever straight down at that angle, and I'm going to close the slide. So why is it so important to clear the gun? Because we want to prevent any kind of negligent discharge at all costs. We want to make sure the gun is empty, and this gun is like many others. You have to press this trigger to take the slide off. So once I've cleared the gun, I've checked it, and I've closed the slide, and I've turned my takedown lever down. I do have to press the trigger, and then the slide comes right off, and now I have the gun field stripped. Very easy. So what I really like, the people at HK really engineered this gun really well. These are some very thick rails. On other polymer striker fired guns, they're much thinner than this, and I hope you can see that on video, but they're very thick, and it's a very robust system right there. So that just supports the gun that much more, and you can just kind of tell by looking at this thing. When you look at the insides, it's really put together well. So to put it back together, we just simply put our slide back on top, line it up with the rails, come all the way back. I lock the slide back to the rear. Now turn the takedown lever back up in its correct position, and I'm ready to go. So now I would function check the gun, make sure everything works, and do whatever I needed to do. So yeah, really good little pistol. I really like it. One of the concerns I had early on when I started shooting these guns is I felt like I couldn't shoot them as fast as I could shoot some other guns. I've since changed my opinion on that recently. Of course, I've grown as a shooter since that time, but also one of the things I realized is each gun has a different feel about them when you shoot them. And one of the things with the HKs that I've really noticed, and it's always different for each shooter, but with a lot of guns, and I'll use Glocks for example, I get a little snap with the 9mm. So it's very important that I have good fundamentals, that I have a good grip, and that I'm doing a really good job controlling my recoil to keep those sights from getting too far up and that muzzle flipping too high. With the HK, I get more of an impulse or a push from this gun. So anytime I start shooting one of these again, that is something I have to get used to again. But I'll tell you this, it feels really good. It's not snappy at all. It impulses back into my hand really well. And the way that they've designed this grip and the way it locks in your hand, it does a really good job of keeping these sights back on track, and the gun returns to zero really, really well. So as I've shot them more and more over the years and gotten more familiar with them, I've learned how to shoot them well, and you can do a lot of really good work with these guns. So another thing about them is they're a little pricey. So this model here, the VP9 Optics Ready model, comes in at about $7.99, and that varies from place to place, and of course sometimes you catch sales and whatnot, but HK is a quality manufacturer. They charge for that quality. So for example, in comparison, this model, if we took the Glock model that is most similar to this, would be the Glock 45 MOS, and it goes anywhere from $5.99 to $6.50-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, depending on where you're shopping. So you're talking a pretty significant difference in price. But I do believe at the end of the day, if you're serious about this gun and it works for you, the premium that you're paying for it is worth it at the end of the day, because again, this is a life-saving piece of equipment, and if this is the one that works for you, a little bit more money is not always a bad thing. Not that there's anything wrong with the Glock. Have a stable of those downstairs. So yeah, great gun. My overall thoughts on this is it is a very good option for a home defense gun. It is a very good option for a concealed carry gun. And as you can see here, I have a Dark Star Orion holster set up for this gun that works extremely well, and I carry an appendix inside the waistband, and I have been for just a little while now because I've been testing this gun pretty hard for the last little while, and it will be for the foreseeable future. So I have been carrying this gun in this holster setup, appendix inside the waistband. I wake up in the morning at around 5 o'clock, get a shower, get ready, and go to work. I've got my gun on. I return home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock, and I usually take my gun off around 8 or 9, sometimes later. So I carry a gun professionally. I keep a gun on when I'm out and about. So this gun's been carried quite a bit, and it's been carried inside the waistband again in the appendix position. It's been carried with my shirt tucked in over it. That's one of the advantages of this holster and this clip here. And it's been fine. It's been very comfortable. I've had no problem concealing it. And of course, one of the things about carrying a full-size gun, it can be very much can be done, but a lot of that has to do with your carry system. So getting a good quality holster from a reputable manufacturer that knows what they're doing, such as KSG, Dark Star Gear, JM Custom Kydex, the list goes on, and getting a good belt makes all the difference in the world and makes carrying these bigger guns so much easier. So what is my advantage for that? Well, my advantage is 17 plus 1 rounds of Federal HST 124 grain plus P ammunition, and a very controllable, shootable gun that I can get a full firing grip on and do some really good work with if, God forbid, that ever happens. So definitely at Patriot Training Center, we encourage you to carry as big of a gun as you possibly can, and it can be done. And people come to our training every month and they say, wow, I just didn't really think I could carry a gun that big. And then they get out there and they've got a great holster, they've got a great belt, and they realize it's not as hard as it seems. So it can be done. So if that's something that you're looking for and you're a little concerned, yeah, just get you a good quality holster, get you a good quality belt. You'll be amazed at what you can do as far as carrying the bigger guns. So to wrap this up, just a couple more thoughts on the VP9. This again is one of my favorite pistols. Of course, I'm extremely favorable to the polymer duty style pistols. They're my favorite. That's the category that I kind of gravitate to, and this to me is one of the best. I cannot outshoot this gun. So when I go out and I run a bullseye course, for example, when I get a possible 300 points going all the way out to 25 yards, I can consistently shoot in 290 out of 300 with this gun, with the iron sights and everything set up just like it comes from the factory. And honestly, I can't do that with other pistols. It's extremely accurate. It's extremely user-friendly. It's concealable. And it's of good quality. I don't worry about this gun breaking. I don't worry about it malfunctioning. Not this model particularly, but I have thousands of rounds through HK VP9s going back to 2015, and I can literally count the malfunctions I've had on this hand too, and they were both ammo related. They were Winchester white box ammunition that back in 2017, I remember the day, and both malfunctions occurred that day with that same box of ammunition. So no fault of the gun at all. So also, I took a VP9 to the desert for a week, fired well over 1,000 rounds, and had absolutely no issues with the gun whatsoever. And the magazines were hitting that dust and dirt frequently out there. Every night the gun was covered in desert dust. It was black, but it was discolored from all the dust and everything that was flying around out there. And I had to clean it every night, but it gave me absolutely no issue. So these are, no gun's 100% reliable, but this is 99.9%. I put it right up there with a Glock as far as the reliability goes. So yeah, that's my little quick review of the HK VP9. It's a great option for those of you that might be interested in something of this size, that's looking for something a little bit different. And they also make these in what's called the SK version. So basically the exact same gun with a 3.5-inch barrel and a much shorter grip that has a flush fit magazine that holds, I believe, 12, and then an extended magazine that holds 15. That's a little bit smaller, possibly a little bit more concealable, that type thing. And I can tell you from experience, they shoot about just as good as these right here. So HK, great brand, great quality. You can count on them. Very reliable. Again, you're going to pay a little price for them, so you have to keep that in mind. And these optic ready models, of course, you can take this off and you can buy an adapter plate and put a pistol mounted optic on top if you so choose. One thing I didn't point out earlier, I kind of missed, is the sights. One of the things that they did with the 2020 update is they went to a completely blacked out serrated rear sight, which I personally like. And they put what they call a high visibility front sight on the front. It is green, and it's very bright green. It is not a night sight. It does not have a tritium insert in there. But these are replaceable. There's a few makers out there that make different sights that you can buy and put on this gun if you don't like what comes on from the factory. I'll be honest, the first time I got one of this 2020 upgrades with these sights, I was actually had a new set of sights in my cart ready to order, and I went out and shot it, and I canceled that order because I liked these sights and I don't touch them. Again, it's one of the few guns out of the box that I don't feel like I have to do anything to get it to perform the way I need it to perform. So yeah, as you can tell, I really like this gun. It's one of my favorites. I've carried one quite a bit, and to be quite honest, the Glocks and the HKs are the two brands that I'm going to shoot, that I'm going to carry, and it seems like that's just going to be the way it is. So I put these right up there with the Glocks, and I think they're a great option. So yeah, if you're looking at one, definitely worth looking at. So that's all I got for you today. We're going to bring you some more gun reviews. We'll have a Glock review. I'm going to review a Shadow Systems gun, which is a Glock clone, here before too long, and Walther PDP and a couple of more. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got anything you'd like for us to review, give us a shout, and we'll see if we can't get it done for you. But yeah, hope to see you training at Patriot Training Center soon.